Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, touch me, senpai. What the hell is this shit? Only a red background. I want my money back.
You're not wrong. Let's actually get something done this time. What do you say, Carmen?
How about you suck my big fat ball?
Anyways, today we're actually going to finish building the UI collection view controller with the nicely spaced cells. So let's get started. Alright, so we left off at the regular red background. Now let's actually put some cells up in this biscuit. First, override some methods from the protocol UI collection view delegate flow layout that we defined above. Let's create an extension of the class Marvel Controller. Before we do anything else, I like to keep tabs on where my protocol methods are. I would say it's very important to do so as you write more code into your file. Let's do //mark : UI collection view delegate flow layout methods. Now, time for a tea break. Hell yeah, when overriding delegate flow layout, it is imperative that we override number of items in section, cell for item at, and size for item at. These are three different cell methods. This guy counts how many cells you want and returns it in the UI. This guy is the cell itself, and we have to create an instance cell to define unique properties. And finally, this guy, self-explanatory, defines the size of the cell, taking in the width and height in the argument. Usually takes in CG float. Alright, so let's get started. Number of items in section, cell for item at, and size for item at. There we go. So write all these methods respectively in the order that I have done. And let's start with this one, number of items in section. Remember what I told you? It returns the amount of cells that you want. It returns an int, an integer, not a double, float, or whatever. So let's just return an arbitrary number of, let's say, 5. Let's go to the next section below, cell for item at. Now remember what I told you, that cell, we need to declare it. So let's cell equal collection view from here, from this argument, .dq reusable cell with the reuse identifier. Remember, it's important. For here, let's do cell ID. I know it takes a string, and the index path is from here. So index path. Now, this cell ID, we're gonna have to declare it as a property. So let's cell ID equals with the string cell ID. Then this will be valid and it will work. Now all we need to do is return the cell. As it says, return UI collection view cell. Now over here at the size for item at, we would like to return the CG size. So go over here and already do this. Return CG size, open the parameter, and we want to check the width CG float, height CG float. Press enter. Now the next question is, what is the width and what is the height? What do we want to give it? Well, first, let's give the cell like a width of the iPhone screen. So let width equal view.frame.width. This is basically saying, okay, it's going to be the width of the iPhone screen, like I said before, and put that into the parameter below. Now the height, we can declare it as anything we want for now. So 200 is, I think a good number to start with. Next, what we're gonna do is in the cell for item at, we're gonna add one more thing, a background color. So cell.background color, we can access this property of UI color, and let's give it something other than red to distinguish it. So .blue is completely fine. It will be obvious. So after we have done that, we go back up to the setup UI and we're gonna register the cell. Collection view, go down here, collection view, dot register, and it's gonna be the cell class, any class, with the reuse identifier. Press enter. And we're gonna type in UI collection view cell. Remember, view cell dot self. And then the cell ID. This is very important as this cell ID works with this and also the cell ID that we have defined and put it into the argument below. And when we run it, it's not actually gonna work yet because when we go back to the app delegate, I have made an error. Instead of UI collection view layout, it has to be UI collection view flow layout. So let's change that out. flow layout. Now, go back to Marvel Controller, run it, and then you'll see the result. Awesome. You can scroll up and down, and you can see that the blue cell is the view width, and the height is around 200 pixels. Okay, now here's where things get a bit confusing for beginners. So let's have another tea break. What? I'm British. Just kidding, no I'm not. As you can see, the cell, which is the box looking thing, has padding on the top, left, bottom, and the right. We're going to add another function called inset for section at to make it so, and also another function called minimum line spacing for section at, but that we're not going to have to worry about so much. Oh, and one last thing, remember these 3 paddings, as we're going to need them to calculate the cell structures as well as the UI collections format. Now let's implement inset for section at. So we're going to go down here, inset for section at, hit enter, and also we're going to add the minimum line spacing. Alright, sounds good. Let's just return 16 for this for now. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it later. And for insets for section at, it returns a UI edge insets. So let's do that. Return UI edge insets. Open the parameter, and it's going to take 4 arguments: the top, left, bottom, and right. Remember in the past clip that I showed you the top, left, bottom, and right padding? That's what it's for. And we're going to give a padding of 16 to the top, 16 to the left, bottom, and right. And that's it. Finally, we're at the size for item method, and we're going to start calculating. So we already have view.frame.width. Now we just need the padding and the amount of paddings we have for each row. So as you can see up here, there's 3 paddings. So what we're going to do is subtract it and put parentheses 3 times 16 and then divide it by 2. And we're going to add an extra parentheses right there. And let me just explain this one more time. The 3 equals the amount of paddings we have for each row, and the 16 is 16 points to the left, 16 points to the middle, and 16 points to the right. And so once we get that calculation, we subtract it by the width and then divide it by 2, which will cut into 2 squares. That's pretty much it. And then we just start running. And there you go. A perfectly nice generated cells, each equally spaced. And all we need to do now is actually change this height to something like width to give it like, symmetrical shape. And plus 46 or so, because we're going to add the name under it. I hope you enjoyed this content / lesson, as I will be doing more with little skits here and there. Up next is going to be a very short lesson on how to get the large navigation title and explanation of things that I may have missed and need to clarify. So like, comment, subscribe. Peace.